What up, everybody? Welcome into the Betting Pros Super Bowl prop live stream sponsored by WynnBet. With me is Matt Perrault. You can find us both on Twitter at DanHarris80 and at Sports Talk Matt. Matt, it is the Super Bowl. Have you finally gotten excited for this? I knew you were depressed because of the whole Radio Row thing the whole week. Are you up for it now with an hour to go?
Yeah, I'm excited. Let's go. It's football. It's the last game of the season. It's kind of funny. I can watch you. Normally when we do this podcast, I'm not looking at you. So this is a new thing for me to actually be able to watch your reaction to the crazy things I say. So I'm excited to do this for the next hour.
Don't get too intimidated, all right? I know generally speaking, when people have to watch me, they get very worried. Okay, so here's what we've got. The biggest thing of all that I want you guys to be aware of is the fact that we are giving away a signed helmet from Pristine Auction at the end of this live stream. Okay, you should see, whether you're watching on the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel or the Betting Pros YouTube channel or on Twitter, whatever, you should be able to see, especially on the YouTube channels, to see this form that you need to fill out to go. You've just got to be subscribed to either channel and then fill out the form. That's it. It is a mystery box. Pristine Auction does this cool things. Here's what we know about it. It is a signed helmet that is from either it is from a former NFL MVP and a Super Bowl winner. That is a limited number of awesome football players that it could be. All you need to do is subscribe and sign up. That's it. We're going to unveil it later in this live stream and announce the winner on this live stream. So make sure you stay tuned for the entire time. We are also going to be going through a lot of our favorite prop bets. We are going to be using the odds from WynnBet. I will tell you more about them as we get into the stream. They're awesome. You need to be downloading their app immediately, but those are the odds that we're going to use. Matt, before we get into the prop bets, I know if people have been listening to us for a while, they know generally how we feel about it, but I'm going to give you the latest odds that are available for the game on WynnBet, and I want you just to tell me how you're leaning right now. The spread is 3. We know, we've talked about it. It's bounced around a little bit between 3 and 3.5 all year long, but for now, it's at 3. It's minus 112 if you want to take the Chiefs laying 3. It's minus 104 if you want to take the Bucks getting 3. So which way are you leaning right now?
Well, look, I'm on 3.5, okay, for Tampa Bay. But here is my advice if you've not placed your bet yet right here before kickoff. It is criminal to bet 3 right now, this close to kickoff on either side. If you can find a way, and not every book will let you do it, if your book will let you buy 2.5 for Kansas City, spend the juice. If the book will let you buy the 3.5, spend the juice, okay? Laying 3 this close to kickoff right now is a monster mistake. You could have waited, and I get it. People normally bet right for kickoff. It's not going to be minus 110. It could be minus 130, minus 140, depending on what it is. But I think 3 is the right number, and the books are, look, I'm looking at one book right now, 72% of the handle, 62% of the bets are on Kansas City minus 3. This number should be 3.5. This number should be 4 by that type of ratio, and the books aren't doing it. That tells you how they feel. The books are taking a position. They think 3 is the right number, and they don't care about liability.
Do you, because Matt, you're so plugged in, do you have a sense of what, generally speaking, the books are rooting for to happen in this game? Do they have more liability on the Bucks winning? Is there a difference between the spread and the money line in this game in terms of what they're rooting for?
If KC wins by 2, you're going to see champagne bottles being popped all over Vegas. The books are going to be absolutely ecstatic. Everyone who's betting Tampa is betting money line, okay? Pretty much it's been anywhere from like plus 130 to plus 160 on the money line for Tampa. And everyone's saying, you know, there's a prevailing opinion that point spreads don't matter in these games, that if you like KC, they're going to win by way more than 3. If you like Tampa, they're going to win outright. So the point spread won't matter. They would love it. The books would love to see KC win this thing by 2, by 1. And knock out all those money lines. All those parlays are going to be in there involving Tampa, all the cross-board bets, and it's all rolled into Tampa Bay money line, really, for anybody who's betting these things with plus money. So Casey to win by 2 would be the ideal situation for the books.
All right, let's talk very briefly about the over-under before we get into the props. I do want to say, by the way, if you're watching on either YouTube channel, feel free to ask a couple of questions as what you're thinking. You have your own props that you like, you want our opinion on it, throw them in there. Any questions you want, we will be answering questions throughout this. We're able to see the stream. How about, Matt, the total? The total now, we've talked about it. It kind of bounced back. It started off at 57.5. It's now at 56, even at minus 110 on both sides. How do you feel about the total at 56?
So I'm on under 56.5, and there are books who are up to 56.5 right now. Same book that I was talking about earlier, they're up to 56.5 with 69% of the handle and 70% of the bets on the over. So again, at 57.5, when you're dealing with 70% of the bets and 69% of the handle, this number should be above 56.5. It should be 57, it should be 58, but they're not going there. Why aren't they going there? Because all the professionals are on the under, okay? The books want under. I'm going to ride more often than not. I'm going to try to be on the side of the sports books and side of the professionals. This is a big underplay here, given where, traditionally speaking, Super Bowls are lower scoring games than people think.
And have you done anything on the money line whatsoever? Right now on WynnBet, again, the money line is minus 155 on the Chiefs, plus 145 on the Bucks. We talked about it that, again, the prevailing sort of view on the Bucks, at least if people are betting it, is on the Bucks on the money line rather than the spread. So do you have a sense as to which one gives you more value?
I don't think there's much value right now in taking Kansas City on the money line, just because I think if they win this game, they're going to probably cover. So I think if you're going to take KC, I would just take -3. I think there's a pretty good chance that they're going to cover that. So if you like KC on the money line, I would say bet them just to win the game, to lay the 3 points. And then Tampa coming back, again, I've had professional gamblers come to me and tell me that I'm nuts not to buy it to 4, that I bet 3.5. Why don't you buy it to 4 to get yourself out of any liability? Because if it's a 24-20 game, you lose if KC wins. And there's some logic behind that, but I'm just going to go with 3.5, and I think KC wins by 3. So money line wise, I would just lay the 3 points.
All right. Well, Andrew Winkler, who's commenting on the FantasyPros channel, said Australian bookies have the over-under at 55.5. So you obviously can get different lines wherever you go. Okay, let's get into some props. Again, guys, I'm telling you, we are going to be giving away this ginormous helmet. Enter the contest if you haven't already. It's pinned to the comment section on both the FantasyPros live stream and the BettingPros live stream. It is going to be worth it. We're going to do a live unveiling. Matt's got it. He hasn't looked at it. He's going to open it up. It's a mystery box. Again, a former NFL MVP and Super Bowl winner. So we're going to start talking about some props. We're going to go through them. I think I've got 7. I think Matt's got 4 that we like to do. Now we're going to be using the odds from WynnBet. And if you haven't checked out the WynnBet app now, it is awesome. Live and pregame betting on the biggest events: football, college football, basketball, hockey, golf, MMA, and more. You can get a risk-free $500 bet when you make a $20 minimum deposit on your first bet. You can do that by going to bettingpros.com/win. That's WYNN. Again, bettingpros.com/win. That's how you're going to get that bet. All right, Matt, I'm going to kick things off with my favorite prop here. Now, again, I'm using the odds that are available at WynnBet, and my favorite prop, we talked about this. I know we have a similar view on what we're going to see from this Chiefs offense today. And so I'm looking at Sammy Watkins. Okay. Sammy Watkins, you can find at various books 3.5 receptions. Okay. And if you get that, the general juice I saw was about between -135 to -140. So it's a little juiced up there. At WynnBet, it's 3. So it's not 3.5. But I still like that number. And again, it's at even money. So it's at +100. But I like Sammy Watkins under 3 receptions at 100. I don't think you lose this bet. I think worst case you push and you can live with that. He's been out since week 16 with the calf injury. He was questionable all week. Do I think he's 100% at this point? No, he was limited in practice for a lot of the week. I don't care what they're saying. Demarcus Robinson, Matt, we talked about it earlier this week on our podcast. He is going to play. Now, I don't think he's going to do all that much, and we'll talk about that in a little later, but you've got Mecole Hardman there. You've got Byron Pringle there. So do you agree with me here? And I think you do. We'll talk to you about your prop, that you don't expect Sammy Watkins to be a huge part of the game that goes on from the Chiefs.
I don't. And here's the thing that everyone listening, everyone watching, you guys have to understand something, that the books know you guys hate betting unders. Every one of these receiving props on both teams are juiced up and bet up and really bloated. So I know professionals here in Vegas who are straight betting the under on everything. They just walked to the window and said, every under wide receiver prop, bet it now. Okay. Just to give you an idea. So we don't know what the offenses are going to do. We don't know how the defenses are going to roll. However, you got a guy who's nicked up. How many targets is he really going to get? How many passing opportunities will he have? And I think Watkins, I think all the receiving props, I think under is the way to look at them all.
Yeah. I mean, I think the unders are always sort of the quote unquote sharper side on these for the most part. Just generally speaking, prop bets not as much because the prop bets are what they are. In the Super Bowl, though, prop bets are the bets, right? Like that's what everybody's here to do, which, by the way, you should be doing. Enjoy the game. Don't be too worried about the outcome and just really go for the props and enjoy it. But I agree, for the most part, the public likes to go over. So I think this is where the under is going to go. Now, you like Sammy Watkins for a prop that you want to talk about as well, but it's also with me in the we don't think that Sammy Watkins is going to go crazy here, right?
Yeah, it's under 38.5 yards receiving for Sammy Watkins. And I think in terms of targets, he may get 2, 3, 4, maybe, and he'd need to catch all the targets, all 4 of those targets to knock out your prop. And then he would need to have it be going for pretty good yardage. I mean, 40 yards is pretty good. You might say, oh, it's just one play. Okay, yeah, it could be just one play, but I don't think it's going to be that heavily involved. And it may be a third down play. You know, oftentimes you'll see Patrick Mahomes look to the secondary receiver when the 2 big guys are covered on key downs because they're going to take away Kelsey and Hill on a 3rd down and 5, say. So it's a 6-yard reception. He just runs a button hook at the sticks. And he has 2 or 3 catches and it's 12 yards. So I just don't think Watkins, given the injury, I don't think he gets a lot of targets and I don't think he gets a lot of yards. It was not one big bomb to him. I think under 38.5 hits.
So I'm on that as well. And I bet that as well. The reason why I kind of like the receptions, and again, at 3, you're getting even money. So that's what makes it more attractive. I think I like the receptions a little bit more just because it's the Chiefs, right? And so one catch can just be 45 yards in the blink of an eye. So for me, I feel a little more confident that Watkins isn't going to be heavily involved in terms of targets than I worry about that one giant catch it can get. But I agree with you. I'm on the under 2. I got a question here, Matt, on Fantasy Pros. Just say, these are kind of the fun ones that you can have right off the bat. Sai is his first name. I can't pronounce the last name. Thanks us for all our work. Do we think that the first play of the game, Matt, more or less than 4.5 yards? I realize that that's just something where we've got to kind of, take the guess. We don't know who's getting the ball.
Okay, well, let's play it out.
Yeah.
So the home team, the Chiefs are the home team, right? So the Bucks. So the Bucks are going to call the coin flip, right? I have that right, I believe. Right.
Okay.
So if the Bucks win the coin flip, normally Brady defers. Normally, but in this game, they may take the football.
Right.
Okay, so they take the football, then what's the first play most likely? I would say it's a running play.
Yeah.
I would say just typical Tom Brady. We're going to establish the run, first play, Ronald Jones, halfback dive. 3 yards, I would say under. I'd go under first play of the game from scrimmage. I would go under 4.5 yards.
I do agree with you that I think the Bucks are going to get the ball first because I think the Bucks are, if they win the toss, are going to want to get the ball first and get started. And I think that the Chiefs are probably going to want to defer. So I think the most likely thing. But I'm betting I'll go the other way, Matt. I mean, you might be right. It's 4.5 yards. What can you do? And you're right. I think probably if the Bucks get the ball, the higher percentage is that they're going to run it. But it also strikes me as you could see a little play action pass since most people are thinking that, and Brady comes out with a thought. But, whatever. The under is probably, the safer way to play. So I'll go there. All right, let me get to my next prop here. And we're going to go to Darrell Williams. And Darrell Williams is not like an exciting name or anything like that people are like, ooh, this is the guy I really want to take a prop on. Who knows exactly what the Chiefs are going to do with their running game. I don't expect them to be able to run the ball very much. So instead, I'm going to go to the passing game here, the receiving game for Darrell Williams. Now I'm going to go over 12.5 yards receiving at plus 105. Okay. I don't mind the over 2.5 receptions either, also at plus 105. But again, at WynnBet, that's where I can get it. I can get the over 12.5 receiving. Again, we talked a little bit about this. I gave this one away earlier. It's the same odds that you can get on WynnBet that, some people think it's going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that it's going to be all him. He's going to step into this game. He's healthy now, presumably, and he's just going to fully take over. That's possible. It's possible that Williams got all the work in the last game because Edwards-Helaire was coming back from an injury and he got a little dinged up in that game and a lot of it was garbage time. That's fine. But the one thing we know about Darrell Williams is he is very good in pass protection. That's what he does. they're going to want him in there. And something tells me that Patrick Mahomes is going to be throwing quite a bit in this game. They're not going to try to run it. So I think Williams is going to be in. They're going to get pressure on Mahomes. There's no Eric Fisher. They've got backup linemen all throughout. You know, the Bucks get pressure. They get pressure as well as almost any other team in the league. So there'll be pressure on Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to have to dump the ball off at least a couple of times. And again, with these receiving totals, especially when you're just dumping it off to a running back, you can get one catch and get over 12.5 yards. So again, the lack of a running game, the fact that I do expect Darrell Williams to be in the game and, you know, pass blocking a lot, I think he sneaks out a little bit and gets at least one, maybe two, maybe even more dump offs and goes over the 12.5 receiving yards.
I don't hate it. I think there's going to be a lot of these secondary receivers giving opportunities because, again, I think this Buccaneer team is going to stop Hill at all costs. And then I think Kelsey as well. Kelsey's going to be a more difficult ask, I think, for them to stop. But I think you could see, I mean, look, I think the Chiefs are going to pass a ton today. And I still have, I think it's something you probably should look at. I don't see them running the ball very much today, and especially with Clyde Edwards-Helaire not looking 100%. I think that there's a pretty decent shot that we see a lot of passing, and so these are the dink and dunks that can go for 15 yards real easy, and you hit your prop bet just on one catch.
Okay, all right. I mean, I think we're seeing this so far exactly the same way. By the way, I'm gonna sprinkle in questions, Matt, from the FantasyPros live stream. You can do the same from the BettingPros live stream. I think you got Harley McCall. I don't think either one of us has a Patrick Mahomes passing yards prop that we're going to be talking about this one. Harley has it at 339.5. He wants to know what you think about the under.
It's just hard. I mean, look at Mahomes last year threw for last season, different defense, different game, I know, but he threw for 2 picks and under 300 yards. And look, I know the 49 defense is much better than the Buccaneer defense, better secondary, everything, but it's the Super Bowl. Gun to my head, I'm betting under on Brady and Mahomes both when it comes to passing yardage. I mean, I wouldn't bet it, but if I was going to bet it, I'd bet the under.
Okay. All right. So now let's get to a prop, Matt, a guy, Leonard Fournette, that you've been talking about a lot. We've talked a lot this week. We talk a lot anyway, by the way, just so everybody knows. Even when Matt and I are not doing podcasts together, Matt and I are messaging constantly throughout the week. So, Matt, Leonard Fournette is a guy. You have a bet. I'm with you on this one as well. I know, agreement isn't always as fun, but I do like this one. Why don't you give your next prop?
Okay, so first, this is the Daily Juice t-shirt that I'm wearing that you can get on fantasypros.com/shop. Someone's asking me where I can get the t-shirts. So you can get the t-shirt there. Okay, second, everyone's asking me about my food. Okay, football first. Food second, football first. I know I'm cooking. I talk about smoking. If you guys are in Fantasy Pros, you don't understand it. It's a running gag. I smoke meat in a cooker every single Sunday for the football games, and everyone wants to see what I'm doing. So ribs and wings are on the smoker right now, and my wife's taking care of it at the moment. But so football first, food second. Third, this comes from, and you guys, if you watch the Showtime show Action, and you on the Fantasy Pros, you guys may not know much about the Daily Juice as to what I do, but I call myself an aggregator of information. I try to talk to as many people as possible. I think there are millions of really smart people in the world, and I want to learn from as many as possible. And Bill Krackomberger is the guy who was on the Showtime show Action, pro sports gambler. He's got $8,000 on this one prop. And when I hear that, I go, okay, I'm going to look at it. Leonard Fournette over 3.5 receptions. And this is, to me, a really interesting bet because Bill has bet under on every other receiving prop except this one. He thinks this is the one that goes over. He thinks Fournette's going to have a big role. And I agree because it goes in line with what you were talking about, Dan, and you and I going back and forth. I think the wrong running back is getting all the love. I think if you go back and look at the way that Tampa used Ronald Jones in the regular season against the Panthers, 192 yards rushing. He had 4 games of going over 100 yards. When healthy, this dude is the RB1. This is the guy they want to give the rock to and ride him and really try to pick up first downs running the football. Not with playoff Lenny, okay? I know he's got the shirts and the hats and he's on Twitter and Instagram and whatever. People are like, oh my gosh, he's looking like the top 5 pick. I don't see it today. I think this is Ronald Jones. I think Ronald Jones is running the ball like crazy, and I think Fournette is there to catch balls because Brady needs an outlet when pressure is getting, when Chris Jones is breathing down his neck, he needs an outlet pass, and I think that's going to be Leonard Fournette.
Okay, so I'm with you as well. So, yikes, you said an $8,000 bet on the over 3.5?
Yeah, I mean, there's books here in Vegas that are taking $10,000 per prop bet.
Wow. Okay.
So, I mean, there are books here in Vegas who are taking, this is what we talk about. Like, people don't really understand how much money is in play. Like, they hear the 1 million, the 2.3 million, the 3.4, and they think that that's, extreme. It is extreme, but the number of 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, there are so many of them, they don't make news because it's just, okay, 50K, 50K, 50K. It's ridiculous. The books are more liquid today than any other day in the entire calendar year.
Man, that's awesome. Well, anyway, I do see it the same way. I get a little worried about both of these running back situations, really. And again, you've made a Fournette bet. You're going to make more bets, I think, on the running backs for the Bucs. I've made one on Darrell Williams. I get a little worried, Matt, because I don't know whether or not they are just going to go back to Rojo, or whether Fournette, they've been so impressed with the way he's run the ball that they do want him to be more of the running back. But I think regardless, I do expect them to be heavily involved in the passing game. So 3.5, the over, I like it as well. I would like you now to tell everybody what you're going to be eating for the Super Bowl, because apparently that's a big topic of discussion. So go ahead.
Okay, so every Sunday I smoke a rack of ribs. And I do different methods every time because I'm still learning. My wife for Christmas got me something that I've always wanted. I've always wanted a smoker. So I live in a community where I can't have the real smoker that I want with the burning wood and actually having real, a full-blown smoker. So it's a pellet smoker. So it's cheating a little bit. But we're doing a rack of ribs and we're smoking wings today. I've never smoked wings before. Normally I bread them and fry them like everybody else, but I am smoking them today with 3 different rubs to try which one that I like the best. And so I've got my Elijah Craig, which is my favorite whiskey. I've got hard cider. I can't drink beer because I have a gluten allergy, so I can't drink beer. Sucks to be me. But that's my menu, and that's where I am today. One question for you from our Betting Pros YouTube, Dan.
Yeah.
How do you feel about anytime touchdowns? I don't bet these all that often. I don't really like them. First touchdowns as well. Everyone's making their predictions for the first touchdown. I think it's too much of a roulette spin to me to find out who wins or who scores these touchdowns. But in a game that's expected to be high scoring, they want to know our picks for anytime touchdowns.
So I don't, generally speaking, love anytime touchdown bets. Throughout the season, by the way, guys, if this is your first time tuning in, Matt and I did a show and we picked props, and I would give him props, which he would do in his live stream on Sunday morning. I project for Fantasy Pros, and when I do my rankings, I project every fantasy relevant player, which is really every player, and that's how I base my prop betting on. Touchdowns are just kind of fluky. There was the David Montgomery run, Matt, where I was just like, no, David Montgomery, anytime touchdown, just get it in there, just put it in there because you knew it was going to be going. But for the most part, I stay away from it. Now, I'm not going to give mine away because I do have one coming up later in this live stream that I have for somebody to score a touchdown, and it's a specific one, so I'll give that. So hold on for there, probably about, 5 minutes, but I'll give that one. Do you like anybody, Matt, to score a touchdown, or you're just stay away from these bets no matter what?
Before I answer that, everyone wants to ask you and me, are you a drum or a flat guy, Dan?
I'm a drum.
So am I. I hate flats.
No, I hate flats.
I think people who like flats over drums
I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
They're psychos. I mean, you guys are psychos. If you like flats over drums, you're a psycho.
All right, that comes from Matt.
I question everything. I question your life choices. I question everything about you. I'm kidding. But all
right, yes, I will just say that I personally prefer drums, and you can do whatever you want, listeners, because I respect you and I like everybody. Yes, touchdown. Anytime, Matt. What do you got? Anybody?
If I was going to bet it, and I'm not going to bet it, but if I was going to bet it, anytime touchdown, I think Leonard Fournette's a good play because I do think down the goal line. My favorite prop bet of the entire time, it's not on this list, but my favorite prop bet, or maybe it might be, I can't remember, but my favorite prop bet is the shortest touchdown being under 1.5 yards. So that's the only prop I've bet a half a unit on. Every other prop's been a quarter unit, like it's been the entire football season for me. The only prop I've put a half a unit down on is that one. And that's simply because I think you're going to have a pass interference in the end zone, or someone gets pushed out of the 1 and you get a 1-yard touchdown run. And I think Leonard Fournette being the guy they call on to score that 1-yard touchdown run is probably a decent bet. The other would be Mike Evans because Brady loves throwing to Evans in the red zone.
Steal my thunder. We're going to get there in 2 minutes when I get there.
You asked me.
I did. I'm not mad about it. I'm glad to know that we're seeing eye to eye. Before we get to that one, which might involve Mike Evans, I'm going to talk a little bit about Scotty Miller. I will remind you of 2 things before I get to it. Number one, all the odds that we are talking about right here come from our sponsor, WynnBet. Again, go to bettingpros.com/win. That's WYNN. You can get a free $500 bet when you make a $20 minimum deposit on your first bet. So go ahead and do that. And don't forget, if you have not entered, we're giving away a autographed helmet from a former NFL MVP and Super Bowl winner in 20 minutes. If you have not entered the contest yet, do it. It is pinned to the comments. Really easy. Just subscribe and fill it out. All right. So I'm going to get to Scotty Miller. Now, I do not expect Scotty Miller to be heavily involved in this game. I'm going to take the under 17.5 receiving yards at -105. Now, if you paid attention to this prop, it has been all over the place this week because a lot of books, I feel like, have been basing it based on whether or not they expected Antonio Brown to play and to be effective. So I have seen it at -20.5 earlier in the week when they thought Antonio Brown was not going to play. A lot of places now have dropped it all the way to 14.5, maybe not at 14.5, but at 17.5. I do like it. Again, we talked about this with the Chiefs, Matt. It takes one catch, right? It takes one kind of fluky thing. You saw it with Green Bay, right? Last play of the half, Scotty Miller catches the long touchdown.
Your whole bet comes down to that. He's going to get one target.
Correct.
He'll get one target. He'll get one pass attempt.
That's
your
right.
Your whole bet's going to come down to whether or not that play gets made for 15 yards, no yards, or 20 yards. I mean, that's it.
Well, in the end, really what it is in the two games that Antonio Brown has been healthy in the playoffs, Scotty Miller has played 8 snaps in each game. 8 snaps. So those are just snaps, okay?
Right.
Which means your top end, absent an injury to Brown, is going to be like 2 targets. And you mentioned it, Matt. In one of those games, he had a catch for 29 yards, right? And in the other one, he had a catch for 15. But again, Tyler Johnson has kind of made a little bit of a bigger name for himself. So for me, look, if you're talking about realistically, almost certainly it's going to be one catch. Realistically, it's going to be one catch. The over 17.5 yards and the single catch, like I'll take the under. I would rather take, bet for the safer. I don't hate the under 1.5 receptions, by the way, which WynnBet also offers at -140. The juice is a little heavy on that, but I really don't mind that either because I really just do not expect Scotty Miller to be involved with Antonio Brown now looking like he is basically fully healthy. So I'm going with that. So now let's get to a touchdown prop, right? Because people ask, do I like touchdowns? Here's the one I am playing today. It is Mike Evans, as we talked about, Matt, and it's Mike Evans to be the first Bucs player to score a touchdown, and that's at +500. And again,
so it's not first touchdown overall.
Correct.
It's first Buccaneer touchdown.
Correct. Now, I didn't necessarily mind the first touchdown overall, wherever you can get that +1,000, I think it was on WynnBet. Maybe you can get it at +1,200. That might be worth it because we talked about it. I think we both think that the Bucs probably the percentages favor the Bucs getting the ball first here. And if so, then you can get it. But I'd rather leave myself some wiggle room here because I'd rather just say, I don't really want to worry if they, how the coin toss goes or if they go, 3 and out and then the Chiefs get the ball or something like that. I'd rather just bet on who's going to get that first Bucs touchdown. And I do think it's going to be Evans. We know he's got 2 so far in the playoffs, right? We know, you mentioned it, Matt, he's his favorite target, Brady's favorite target in the red zone. I think Brady, what do you think? How many passing touchdowns do you think Brady's going to have in this game, Matt? If you had to bet, if you had to guess, what do you think?
This question's been asked to me in our Discord channel for the Betting Pros for, I don't know how many times today, a bunch of times saying, here's my problem. Most books have you laying a half a touchdown. So it's Mahomes -0.5 or Brady, the head-to-head way is where they get into this and kind of get themselves out of it. I think over 2.5 is a decent bet for both these guys. I mean, if you like scoring, if you expect scoring, but again, these are the prop bets that are juiced up. So Mahomes had 2 last year. I think Brady could have 2 this year. And so, if I had to bet it, I get the logic on going over. I would just say I would take for both quarterbacks to have 2 touchdowns and take the under 2.5 on both.
I think that's fine. I think if I'm just saying I'm not betting on it, I'm not worried about the juice. I'm not doing anything like that. I say, what do you think? I feel like Brady's going to have 3 touchdowns in this game. I think it's going to be high scoring, whether or not,
you nailed it last week with Rodgers having 3.
Right. No, and that's just kind of how I see it. And I think at least, one of those is going to Evans just because where he's going. So I take the chance to do it for the first one. It's +500. Yeah. And again, I don't love touchdown props. Like I just don't because they're too fluky. But again, you've got Evans, who I think had 13, right, during the regular season. Like, he's going to target him when they get close to the red zone. So that's where I'd go if I'm going into the touchdown prop market. All right, let's go to you now. And again, you referenced Ronald Jones earlier and how you see this playing out, that you think Fournette is going to be much more of the passing downs guy, and you think Ronald Jones is going to get the rock on the ground, right? So give your next prop.
Look, I mean, I got it at 34.5 earlier in the week. It's up to 38.5 now. So I got a little bit of a better number there, but at WynnBet, you can get it at 38.5. And I think up to 40, I'm comfortable going all the way up to 40 here on this, because I do think he's got the potential to break a couple. And the Chiefs rush defense is really nothing all that great. I mean, it's okay, but it's never been over the last couple of years. They're not, they're geared to stop the pass more than they are and get after the quarterback than they are to stop the run. And it was one thing that with Buffalo, I couldn't figure out like what the game plan was. I thought the Bills, I know they don't run the football, but it's the one thing the Bills could have done on the Chiefs is run the football. And they didn't do it at all. And they got destroyed because of it. So I think the Bucs will look at that and say, okay, we have a good offensive line. We got two good running backs. Let's figure out, can we establish the run early? And I think Ronald Jones is the guy. I'll say this. If Ronald Jones doesn't have 30 yards in the first half, I might be in trouble here. Okay. Right. He needs, this is a first half type of prop. And if it gets to the second half and they're down by 14 points, it's dead. So it is because I think early in the game, they'll try to establish the run. And I think you're going to see both running backs, but I think mostly Ronald Jones having the potential to pop one. If he gets one run of 15 yards, one run of 7 yards, we're looking for runs like that where we get us, get that number really jacked up. And if they feel confident to ride him for a little bit, the closer the game, the more likely it is this prop hits.
Yeah. So I don't hate it at all. A couple things before I get into it. Number one, the actives and inactives are coming out. Antonio Brown is officially active, as we all expected, and everything like that. So don't be worried about that. So is Cameron Brate. So they are officially up, just so you know. Number two, Matt, I got a lot of people in the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel basically yelling about the drums over flats. Okay. There are apparently a lot of flats.
I know it's controversial. I totally understand that, but that's the name of the game here, right? You guys you like getting your hands all dirty. You like having to poke out the middle meat now, or you people who bite the whole thing and suck all the thing out, you guys are wacko. That's so strange to watch somebody take the meat straight off a bone like that. That's not a fan. Give me my drumstick.
All right. And the third is I think, Matt, we both see this game being pretty close in the first quarter, right? Like we think it low scoring. Now, again, at WynnBet, it was plus 10. It was an over-under of 10 even, and you didn't love that, but you do like the under 10.5 if you can get it somewhere, right?
Without a doubt. It's my second favorite prop. That's if you can get 10.5, if you want to know why that is, I'm playing history, and everyone's telling me, I've had arguments about this saying you're banking on Brady with the Patriots, not Brady with the Buccaneers, and this is Patrick Mahomes, and he scored 17 points in the first quarter last time. Okay, I get that, but I think Brady, in his history in the Super Bowl, he scored a grand total of 3 points. It's been pretty widely publicized, but 3 points in 9 games. And Brady has been held without a touchdown in every single Super Bowl in the first quarter. So the Bucs can score 3 points. Mahomes could score a touchdown, 7-3, and we cash.
All right, Matt. So I think maybe might be time. We have about 12 minutes left for people to enter the giveaway. What do you say we open the mystery box and people can know what they're entering in for, what the exact helmet is? Again, you've got 12 minutes till 5:15 when we close the contest to enter it. But Matt, it's a mystery box buy. These things are really cool, guys, for Pristine Auction. You don't know what you're going to get. You just know the general thing that you're going to get. We know it's a signed helmet from a former NFL MVP and Super Bowl winner. Matt, you want to open it up live on the YouTube channel? Man.
Okay, so we have a box.
Okay, is it a box?
It's a box.
All right. Congratulations, everyone. Oh, there's a helmet in it. Okay, thank goodness.
I got nervous. In it.
All right, I'm ready.
It says okay, Super Bowl logo on the side.
Okay, I love it.
So there's your Super Bowl logo on the side. So I'm supposed to open. You want me to take the plastic off, right?
Well, we got to find out who signed it. So go ahead.
Okay. This is your certificate of authenticity, which is right there on this. Yep. So this is signed by that person. Oh my!
Who is it?
Is that who I think it is?
Who is it?
Patrick Mahomes.
Boom! Patrick Mahomes. He fits the criteria, former NFL MVP and Super Bowl winner. Ooh,
do you know why I know that? You know what's really weird? So the only reason why I know that that's his signature, because it doesn't look like Patrick. It's just a big P with a big, scribble, right? So how the hell do you know? I've actually been looking at, for whatever reason, I've been looking at Pristine Auctions' website, and I've been fooling around trying to see what could be up there. Looking at their, Brady stuff, their Mahomes stuff, just some of the stuff going into the Super Bowl. So that's how I know that it's a Patrick Mahomes autographed helmet.
I love it.
So,
all right.
Damn, man. That's all right.
We're giving it away. Cool. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. If you have not entered, why not? You have a signed Patrick Mahomes. We will ship it. Signed Patrick Mahomes helmet. We will ship it to your house. Again, the form that you need to fill out, you just need to subscribe. If you're watching on the Fantasy Pros channel, YouTube channel, or the Betting Pros YouTube channel, sign to either, subscribe to either one, and that'll be fine. And then just fill out the form. That's it. You got 10 minutes to go. Go ahead. Now we know.
Can we just react for a second to how flipping cool that is?
It is cool. You can't keep it.
That is so cool.
You can't keep it.
I mean, you kidding me?
I'm letting you know.
Damn. That is awesome. That is.
I know.
Hello.
I know. Again, the pristine auction.
Keep that nice.
It's awesome that it turned out to be a Patrick Mahomes helmet, but there was no losing in that with these mystery boxes. There really isn't from pristine auction, because you're going to get something. Again, they tell you basically the general category. So we knew exactly what it was going to be, that it was a former NFL MVP and Super Bowl winner. Who knows? Could be a 2-time Super Bowl winner in like 4 hours. We'll find out. We'll find out soon.
Well, look, if you guys like this stuff, by the way, and you guys on Fantasy Pros may not know, we do this with the Daily Juice, but every single month we give away stuff. And last month, it was an Amari Cooper autographed jersey from the Dallas Cowboys. This month, it's a Giannis Antetokounmpo autographed signed jersey. By what Dan's telling me is that people like Giannis over Amari Cooper, which is kind of surprising. I get that, but a part of me is like, aren't Cowboy fans like psychotically crazy? I guess Giannis has more fans than Amari Cooper does. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense.
I mean, it's Giannis, man. Like, that's pretty cool. It's
I don't
pretty
know.
cool.
I'm trying to think, like, what would I want on my wall? And like, would I care? I think an Amari Cooper jersey would have been pretty damn cool. But okay, yeah, sure. I mean, Giannis is pretty damn cool too.
Well, we do. It's a good point, though, that by the way, at Fantasy Pros, at Betting Pros, we basically do these every month. We give away, maybe not a signed Patrick Mahomes helmet, fine, but we do these signed giveaways every single, I think last month on Fantasy Pros, it was a signed Deontay Johnson jersey. Like, that's just what we do. We're friends with Pristine Auction. They provide amazing stuff, so we love them. All right, let's get back to the prop bets here as we go in. We got about 8 minutes to enter the contest to win the Patrick Mahomes. We will announce the winner live. That's what we're going to be doing. So since it's Patrick Mahomes, why don't I make that my next prop bet? And I'm going to go the under 21.5 rushing yards. That's at -120. Now, my general philosophy heading into the playoffs, except last year's Super Bowl, which I'll talk about in a second, is to go over a little bit with the Patrick Mahomes rushing, because he does add on rushing yards, generally speaking, in the playoffs, more so than he does during the regular season, where he's a little bit careful. He's got to take care of himself. For now, though, we've got the turf toe, and I'm hearing all of this of he's basically 100%. I don't. Come on. There's no, it's turf toe. It's turf toe. All right. He's not.
It is turf toe, but did you see the shoes he's wearing?
Look, as somebody who wears size 15 shoes, okay, I don't think it really matters how big the shoes that you're wearing are, okay? I can't walk from here to there.
I think he's I think his toe is fine.
No, this is what I'm saying. Look, turf toe is not an injury that you wear a giant shoe and you take like an extra week off and you're fine. It's just not. I mean, it's not. Look, Patrick Mahomes is awesome. I have no problem with his performance in this game whatsoever. I think he's going to be fantastic, but it's about the running. What does make me worried about this a little bit, under 21.5 rushing yards, is the fact that the Bucs are going to get pressure on him and he may need to scramble. I'm sort of thinking that it's more in terms of the dump offs that I'll be able to get, hopefully to Darrell Williams, so I win the prop bet. But he could take off if he has to, but I don't think he is looking to go crazy here. And again, we mentioned this because we talked a little bit about it. It was 19.5 yards, Matt, when we talked about it on the Betting Pros podcast. At WynnBet, it's 21.5 yards. So those 2 yards, people are like, oh, whatever, it's 2 yards. Those are huge, because you know why? I'm expecting the Chiefs to win, maybe at the end of the half too. Kneel downs, okay? Kneel downs are going to be that extra 1 or 2 yards. Or if you had the under rushing yards like I did last year in the Super Bowl, maybe he loses 10 to 15 yards in a couple of kneel downs to waste time, and you wind up cutting those yards and going under. So
the the betting gods may have one in for you after last year.
Well, it's true. It's very true. I've tried to tread lightly in this Super Bowl just because of that, because I do think that karma is a real thing. But yeah, that everybody talks about their bad beats. That's like a fantastic beat that I got there. But yeah, this is what I expect. I expect them to be a little bit careful here with that. I want to give another prop bet here because I want to get a couple of them in before we start, giving away the live stream. And that's DeMarcus Robinson. Look, we talked about Sammy Watkins, who is also, by the way, officially active. I don't think there was any questions that we had to worry about that necessarily because it was trending that way, but the actives have come out and he is officially active. DeMarcus Robinson, his reception total is 1.5. It's at -130 for the under. That's where I'm going there. I think a couple things. Number one, I think they probably, don't you think, Matt, that they game planned a little bit without him, considering the fact that he was on the COVID list because of the close contact with the barber, which you were correct, by the way. But the fact that he was a close contact with the barber, I think they probably game planned without him. Either way, he's never a huge part of the offense anyway. You have Watkins back, and it's not like I expect Watkins to be heavily involved, as I said earlier, but he is another mouth to feed. We have Mecole Hardman, who you and I both like. We both always expect to be a little more involved. You've got Pringle. You've got, of course, Kelsey and Hill. So for me, I'm just kind of fading everybody, realistically, every other receiver that I can on this thing. I think he'll maybe get one catch, but I will go with the under 1.5. Any thoughts on that one?
Look, again, I mean, we're trying to get inside of the heads of all the people who are, of all of the offensive coordinators and head coaches and Eric Bieniemy and Byron Leftwich and how they're going to be calling this game. So you just have to go, historically speaking, what do you think they're going to do? Where does Patrick Mahomes' eye start, right? So it goes, we know where Brady goes first. We know where Mahomes goes first. We know where they go second. It's the third, fourth, and fifth read, right, that we're talking about.
Yep.
And that's the problem, is that there's a lot. They don't call plays for these guys most often, right? I mean, Scotty Miller might get one, like you mentioned. Scotty Miller might get one play call for him. Gronk may get 3 or 4, right? Mostly in the red zone or on a third down play. It's just, you just have to assume they're going to do things like they always have done. And that's why I think under a lot of these props is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we're going now. You've got an under, and boy, for you to take an under on a Tyreek Hill prop, you have to have the intestinal fortitude of, more than I have, essentially. But that's where you're going here with your next prop, right?
Look, the logic is this. On the biggest betting day of the year, with the biggest numbers and the most money out there, the books, this opened at 86.5. It's up to 98.5. And the books are still taking money on the over. And it's still the public just, oh yeah, they're betting it like it already happened. This number should be 110, and it's not, because the books are worried about the pros. If they put the number too high, they're going to get hit with one of those 10,000 other bets on the under. The majority of the professionals I have talked to have said that this will be the last bet that they make. When we get off this live stream, I will make this bet personally. I'm not going to do it officially for the Daily Juice record, just because what you're saying is right. It's a dangerous bet. Yeah. And it could be blown up in one play. Okay. Can Hill go to the house on a 20, from the ball on the 20-yard line, Hill goes to the house for 80 yards? Yep. That's 100% possible. And he's done it to this team before. I'm just going to ride with the professionals here and say that the public has juiced this number up too high, and that Todd Bowles and company, they figured out a way to slow him down, play zone behind it. I'm so curious to see what the defensive secondary is going to be for Tampa today, because if they play 4-down linemen and play zone behind it and try to double team and take away, they bracket Hill, he may not have more than 30, 40 yards coming up tonight. So I'm very curious to see what they're going to do. This bet is based upon the Belichick theory. What you do best, we're taking it away. And that's what Bowles is going to try to do. It may lead to Kelsey. It may lead to others. But I think Hill's going to be taken away.
So, I mean, this is kind of a simplistic question, Matt. But of course, we know what happened the first time these two teams met, right? Do you think that factors into the mind of Todd Bowles and what they're thinking about doing, which is they're like, oh, my goodness, we have to make sure that nothing like that ever happens again? Or is they just sort of game planning the way any normal team would against Hill, which is to say he's one of their best weapons. We have to figure out a way to limit it.
It really is. It's the question. It's the question for the game. I think. How do they adjust to what happened after week 12 into this game? And they cannot have the same approach. Look, I've talked to people who believe that they're not going to change a thing. that they're going to say, this is our defense, and we're going to ask our guys to play better, but they're going to play the same style that we played the first time that got us beat consistently. I've had other people tell me that there's no way that they would do the same thing. It's the Super Bowl. They've had 2 weeks to prep for this game. They've been looking at game film of that game forever now. And, you have all your assistant coaches and all your film room guys are breaking down everything that teams have done. The one team that did have a lot of success at slowing down this team twice were the Raiders. The Raiders beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Now, it was a high-scoring game, but they were able to basically get pressure with 3 to 4 down linemen and play zone behind it and not allow anybody to get behind them, kind of like what the Packers should have done against the Bucs at the end of the first half, which is basically rush 3 or 4 guys, fall back, and nobody can get behind your deepest guy. If they play that way, I don't think Hill has a huge game. What it does do, though, it opens up the middle, and then Kelsey goes crazy, and he has 15 catches for 150 yards.
Okay, so would you say then, Matt, that right now, in terms of how the books are looking, because you mentioned the sharps, the big bettors, the professionals are going to come in after sort of at the very last minute, sort of like what you were thinking. Right now, without this action, do you think that the books would be like, oh, we desperately need the under? Because everybody, the whole public has been hammering the over.
Yeah, they desperately need the under. There's no debate in my mind. They are going to be pushing hard for both Kelsey and Hill to go under their receiving props. Every prop for the KC Chiefs, they want under on them all.
Okay, and do you agree though also then on the Kelsey? I know it's not one of our props here, but I think it's, hovering in the mid 90s at this point. Last I saw is something that you think under on both of those guys. Yeah,
I think I'm not going to bet Kelsey because I'm a little concerned about Kelsey, like I mentioned, because I do think there's a chance they're going to take away Hill and then Kelsey goes crazy. So that's my one concern. That's why I like White's tackles over 9.5. I know WynnBet didn't have that available, but I really do like that prop a lot because I think he's going to have to guard Kelsey, and I think he'll be tackling Kelsey a lot.
Okay.
And so I think Kelsey receptions, not a bad idea. I think the yardage is too high for Kelsey, but I don't hate a play on the over for Kelsey on the yardage there because I do think he's the one weapon that I don't believe the Bucs have an answer for.
Okay. I think I think you're right. It makes me so nervous sort of to be thinking about these guys. Okay, we are drawing the name of the winner. We are randomly going to draw it in a second, but I will
That's my drum roll.
That's your drum. Wait. Before you do it, I do want to know because we have a question. Again, if you have any questions, we've got 13 minutes left in this thing. Ask whatever you want in the comment section on either youtube.com/bettingpros, youtube.com/fantasypros. We will answer it. Matt, but Harley wants to know, what kind of smoker do you have? Is it a Traeger?
No, it's a Pit Boss Series 5 vertical smoker. I did not want a horizontal smoker. I wanted a vertical smoker, and I wanted a glass door to be able to see what the meat was doing. So that's why we went with that. It's a little bit cheaper too. The Traegers will run you about $500-600. This one was about $450 that we bought. So it's a little bit cheaper than that, but it is a pellet smoker. It is, set it and forget it type of deal. It's insane. I've been cooking with it since Christmas, and I absolutely adore it.
Okay. I love
Lowe's.
it. All right.
Buy it at Lowe's if you want to go get it.
Okay. Very good. Are we ready? Are we ready to announce the winner?
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay. So there were 313 entries, the vast majority of them coming. We opened it up early. We tweeted it out and everything like that to make sure everybody had. There were 313 entries into this contest. The winner is Paul Panaghetti. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Paul Panaghetti. Paul, you are going to receive an email.
Wait, where's he from? Does it say?
I don't have it from. No, the way we verified is we email them and then we say where they're from. I don't know where Paul is from. Paul, if you're watching this right now and you want to comment and say where you are from, please do so. We don't know where he's from, but Paul, here's what I want you to do. Congratulations, number one. You are the winner of a beautiful Patrick Mahomes autographed helmet from Pristine Auction. But Paul, you're going to receive an email from us. Check your spam just in case, later on today, maybe tomorrow, check your spam. Make sure that you got it, respond so we can have your address and send it. And if you're watching, please mention,
if it's a Canuck, if he's a Canuck, the Daily Juice guys are going to flip out. Because in the history of us giving stuff away in the Daily Juice, we had the first 3 guys who won were all in Canada.
Yeah. Matt, so here's a good question, by the way, that just came in from Lance. Do you think it's possible at all for Mahomes to get up to 320 passing yards. So let's just say that's basically, his line is in the 330s, but let's say he gets to 320s, while Tyreek Hill basically gets taken out of the game plan. Essentially, is it possible for Mahomes to get there while Hill essentially is not going to factor in?
100%.
Yes.
100%.
So you do. So
yes, 100%.
Who's going to be the guy then? Who's going to be
Hardman?
The people?
I think Hardman could have a monster game. I think Kelsey could go for $150. I mean, if you take away Hill and Kelsey's there and he's getting 15, 16, 20 yards a catch every single time, they'll rack up yards just dinking and dunking over the middle. And then, passes in the slot. I mean, that's where Watkins may be involved, depending upon where we are and where the numbers are for Watkins. I think Robinson, I think it just gets spread around. I mean, this is Patrick Mahomes we're talking about here. This dude, can he throw for 320 without Hill? Yes, 100%.
Yeah. All right. Another question I've got here. Who do you think gets the most carries today? Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell? It's not Le'Veon Bell, I'll tell you that. Or Darrell Williams? Who do you think, Matt?
I'll go with Edwards-Helaire just because he's the guy that's been the most active. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I would be surprised, unless the high ankle really is a problem for him still, I would be surprised that he's not the guy, at least to get the bulk of the carries early, and then maybe he racks up 7, 8, 9, 10 carries in the first half, and we'll see how the second half goes. But I would be surprised if it's not the rookie getting the bulk of the carries.
Yep. All right, let me get to my last prop here. And this is one I like, Matt. I gotta feel like you like this one too. I didn't see this anywhere. I was looking on WynnBet's app and it stuck out. And I immediately was like, that's one that I like. And that's 2 or more passing touchdowns in the second quarter at plus 120. So you and combined.
Yeah, bet that. That's happening.
Without a doubt, right? Without a doubt. And again, you and I have talked about this. I think from Brady historically, just naturally in the Super Bowl, you think that they're going to be a little cautious, right? A little bit starting off, it's going to be, you like the under 10.5 in the first quarter. I don't hate that either. But the second quarter is where it's going to go. And, it's funny, Matt, because you had said on our BettingPros NFL podcast, you had mentioned Patrick Mahomes and what he does in the second quarter. So I just looked up both of them just to see what they do in the second quarter this year. In the first quarter for Patrick Mahomes, here's his breakdown of passing touchdowns by quarter. First quarter, 7. Second quarter, 13. Third quarter, 7. Fourth quarter, 11. So the second quarter is when he usually goes a little bit crazy. For Brady, passing touchdowns by quarter. First quarter, 8. Second quarter, 14. Third quarter, 6, fourth quarter, 12. Now, that's not scientific or anything like that, but it makes sense to how we see this game unfolding. Both teams playing a little cautious, the defense playing well. And then in the second quarter, they're going to really get it going. You don't expect the Chiefs to be able to run the ball very much. Even when they're up close, I think you're going to get the Travis Kelce flip, right? Yeah. Or something like that, or the Mecole Hardman sort of drop, which counts as a pass for him to sort of run it in or something like that, which would count as a pass. I just think combined plus money, 2 or more passing touchdowns, I'm all in on that. I think that's my favorite prop bet.
It's a great one. I mean, it's a great one. Patrick Mahomes, when he came since he's been in the league, Patrick Mahomes is the highest scoring quarterback in the second quarter. So this is just what he does in the second quarter. They get rolling. They tend to take a little time to get kind of, okay, what are you doing? And then they'll go after you in the second quarter. Brady has always been that way. The Patriots historically always did that in the first quarter of these games. Everyone was like, why haven't they scored a touchdown in the first quarter with Brady? Well, the theory is that Belichick and Brady would run plays to see your formation and then go out and attack you in the second quarter. So okay, we're going to run this set. We're going to see what you do. The safety moves here. The cornerback comes down. The linebacker drops in coverage. Well, okay, next time around, we're doing this to Gronk or that to Edelman or whatever we're going to do. And away they go. So that's why the theory is why the Patriots didn't score a touchdown. Now, this is a different team, different everything. So maybe we get up to a fast start tonight and my 10.5 under is destroyed in 2 drives. It's 7-7 and we're dead. It's very, very possible. Okay, I'm not debating that point. It's very possible. But the idea that Brady and Mahomes both are scoring in the second quarter, I think is very, very likely. And I also think that that's where someone's asking on the BettingPros YouTube, an in-game wager that you and I would look for. The books, all these books have different things going on in-game. Normally, you cannot bet a first half in-game. Normally, that doesn't happen. But if you get to the first quarter and we're at like 7-3 or we're at like 7-7 at the end of the first quarter, take a look at it. As I always recommend the guys on the juice, you guys know this, but for Fantasy Pros, never, ever, ever, and I can't stress this enough, never bet in-game during the play itself. Wait to a commercial break, all right? You are on a delay, a big one. You don't realize how big it is. The books are not. They're probably 45 seconds to a minute ahead of you in terms of what has happened. By the time you see it on your screen, it is old news, all right? Real old from a book perspective. So only bet in-game during commercials. But when you get to the end of the first quarter, look at the second quarter. And if you can bet a second quarter spread or a second quarter total, you probably go over because you're probably going to see a high scoring second quarter.
Do you think that there's going to be a large change in the total depending on how the first quarter goes? Or, I mean, because the over-under for the first quarter is, again, as we've talked about, just 10.5, right? That's not a huge number whatsoever. So if they come out and they do score 10 in the first quarter, do you expect the live over-under total to drop from where it is at 56? Or do you think at that point the books are going to hold unless there's like a major drought in scoring?
The only way I see them dropping the total if it's 0-0 at the end of the first quarter. Then I could see them moving it down. Otherwise, I don't think that they move it down. I think they'll leave it as is. They're predicting a 7-0. They're predicting a 3-3. That's what they're anticipating that in the first quarter, and then a big second and a big third, and then the fourth quarter maybe a little bit tighter because it's every drive, every possession, every catch is so scrutinized in the fourth quarter of a Super Bowl. So yeah, I think that's how they kind of will approach it. So I don't think you're going to see a lot come down, but remember that Brady has the ability to come back. And I just think if the Bucs go down 14-0, there's going to be chances to grab Buccaneer money line. There's going to be chances to grab, I don't know what the books would do if the Bucs went up 14-0 because of what Mahomes did last year in the playoffs, going down big and coming back and winning. So I don't know. You obviously will get plus money. You'll get plus points on the Chiefs. Right. But I don't know if it's 14-0. I don't know. You might get like +3 for Kansas City. On the other side, if it's 14-0 KC, you could wind up getting like +10 on the Bucs. So those are the ways to bet in game.
All right. So the only other questions I'm seeing here, Matt, although we've got a couple of minutes here before we end things, you can let me know if you have any questions, is people, we haven't touched on the other Bucs receivers other than Mike Evans. The Chiefs are generally very strong against wide receivers in terms of limiting them. It's certainly from a fantasy standpoint. So what do you think about Chris Godwin? What do you think about Antonio Brown? How do you see basically the production from Tampa coming in this game?
Godwin scares me because of the drops. So that's my only issue. He's going to get targeted a ton. I mean, Brady loves to throw to him. It's just that we had the prop for him over 5.5 receptions in the last game, and he dropped 2 balls in the first half. He should have had 7 or 8, and he wound up with 5. So we lost that prop last week or 2 weeks ago because of his drops. So I'm a little concerned about the receptions. I'm a little concerned about the yardage. So I don't know, but I'm staying away from Godwin just for that reason. I think there's a real possibility that Gronkowski has a decent role in the offense coming up in this game just due to the mismatches and what he did. I know it was a long time ago, but in 2018 in that AFC Championship game at Arrowhead, Gronk feasted on that defense. And Brady and Gronk clearly will remember that. So I think Gronk could be heavily involved. I didn't bet it because, again, it's trying to get into the head of the offensive coordinator, which is tough to do. But I do think you're going to see they're going to try to take away Mike Evans the same way that the Bucs are going to try to take away Drake Hill. So I do think there'll be opportunities for other guys.
All right. So you had one prop bet to bet, Matt. Which one was your favorite? I know we kind of alluded to it a little bit, but even if we didn't talk about it, would it be the white prop? Didn't you have something like that? Or what did you have?
For WynnBet, on WynnBet, my favorite would be the white 9.5 tackles would be my favorite bet on WynnBet.
Okay.
For that. My favorite prop overall is not available on WynnBet, but it's under 1.5 yards for the shortest touchdown rush or scoring play to be under 1.5 yards for the game today on both sides.
Okay, so last question, because somebody had basically mentioned to me about Mecole Hardman because he knows you and I both like it. At WynnBet right now, the total is 29.5 receiving yards from Mecole Hardman. What do you think about that? Oh, and again, hold on. Actually, before we get there, remember, we also had the half a rushing yard how you felt about that. Remember, that was a prop that I saw out there as well. So 29.5 receiving yards and half a rushing yard. How do you feel about either of those for Hardman?
I mean, I wanted to bet the over there, and the Watkins news got me off of it. I was close to pulling the trigger on it. We talked about it, and it was one of my picks, and I wanted to wait to see what Sammy Watkins' availability was. If Watkins wasn't in this game, I'd be all over this Hardman prop.
Yeah.
With Watkins in the game, I don't know. I'm a little concerned about, he only got a couple of targets in the last game. He had that one big long rush that, just that jet sweep that he took for 50 yards. So I'm a little hesitant to go over on Hardman. If I had to bet it, I'd bet the under.
All right. Hold
on,
go. Whatever you got. Sure.
Yeah, there's a bunch of questions, but I want to, everyone is asking, let's see, where did that go? There was a good question that I missed. If somebody had a free bet today at plus money, what would you recommend that they use that free flyer bet on for the Super Bowl?
Oh boy. Well, this is your area, right? Because you always talk to Captain Jack, right? About how to use the free bet. So you give yours.
Well, you always have to, anytime you have a free bet, you have to do plus money, and you have to make it pretty much so it hurts the book. So you should never do it at like plus 110 or plus 130. It should be like plus 250 or higher. I think you're Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans anytime touchdown. I saw it like plus 300, plus 250 somewhere.
Mine is
that range.
Plus 500.
Yours is first Buccaneer touchdown though.
Oh, correct.
So yours is kind of. I'm talking about anytime touchdown for Mike Evans. You can shop around. I think depending on what your book has it, but I think Evans is scoring a touchdown in this game. I really do. So I haven't bet it, but I would look at that. I would look at Dan's prop for there, and Dan's is plus 500. You want to roll with that? It's a great opportunity. First Buccaneer touchdown at WynnBet at plus 500. If you're a free $500 bet at plus 500, that's how you use a free wager. That's how you use a free bet.
Yeah, you want to go crazy, you can go for first touchdown in the game, because we do think that the Bucks are going to get the ball first. So you want to go crazy. That's plus 1,000. I've seen it at plus 1,200 at a book. Beautiful. So that might be something where you want to go. Any other questions, Matt? You got anything else you want to get to, or you want to? I've got a lot of snow blowing to do. It's fine. We can stay here as long as you want, but I'm covered in snow right now. I got to get that done.
Dan, welcome to the betting pros, because we always go long. We never hold. We never hold to all my guys at betting pros are asking questions because they're used to this going over.
All right, well, ask the questions then, man. I don't talking that much.
We always go over. Okay, so they want to know. Okay, first touchdown. What are we talked about the Bucks first touchdown. What about the Chiefs first touchdown?
All right, let me see if I can get that. Keep looking for other things. Okay. I'm scrolling through the app right now. But
people want to know what the hat is.
Oh, the hat. It's a fan. Come on, man. Oh, yours or mine? Yours. Go ahead.
Mine. They want to know
what yours is backwards. You can see mine.
Yes, but mine is where I told you guys 2 weeks ago. I'm a Buccaneers fan for 2 weeks.
Oh,
so
man.
I flipped.
Weren't you fading the Bucks and Brady the entire time, Matt, the whole year?
Yep.
And now you're good.
And the betting gods. And I said to myself, if I'm going to go down, I'm not going down losing with Brady. I'm backing my guy. He's my guy. He's my favorite athlete of all time. I'm not fading TB12 in the Super Bowl. And Chiefs win this game. I'm, as I said, gun to my head, money line Chiefs. Yep, I'm with you. I'm fine with it. But I'm going with Brady. I'm riding with Brady, and I'm going to take the hook. And because the books are so stubborn with this, it's just so freaking weird. Oh, here's a question for you, Dan, because you and I talked about this before.
Yeah.
How do you feel about a same game teaser rather, in this game? So you would take the Buccaneers to 9.
Yep. And
then where would you go with the total? Would you go up or down with the total?
I would tease it up and go under.
I would agree with that. And because 62 is stupid.
I know.
In a Super Bowl, 62 points scored. We've not really seen that before. So that's a huge number. My fear is this: the Bucks get blown out.
Yeah.
So it's 40 to 20, right? It's why do you bet it? It's 40 to 20. Chiefs are up by 20. The under comes in, they score 60 points. So you're clear with there, but your plus 9 is dead in the water because they've lost by double digits plus.
Yeah. I mean, look, it was like the Bills, man, right? Like the Bills sort of, that's what, we like the teaser to tease it up to +9. I agree. I know you can't tease through 0 because you hate that.
No,
but
I mean, you can here because it's the same 3. The one time you can tease through 0 is because +3 and -3 are the same basically. So there's not any real big mathematical difference between +3 and -3. So that's the one time you can tease through 0 if you want to do that. And then what happens if the Buccaneers win by, if they win?
See, that's the thing. I've said I can't see this happening, and obviously it happens on occasion, but it's really difficult to see the Bucs winning by like more than a field goal. Like I can't.
And you're laying -125 juice when you do it. So that's my problem is like you're laying that type of juice at -125, and that's just the book I use in Vegas. Most books are -140 to do a same game teaser like that. So at -140, if that's where your book is, I just find that to be extraordinarily expensive. And I think you're going to get yourself, I don't know. I think right now in the Super Bowl with these lines being where they are, I get it. I love moving lines. I'm just not, I would rather lose my Bucks bet and win my bet on the under than lose both or lose because the Bucks get blown out. And I'm 1-2 on my wagers and I'm losing, more than -110, I'm losing -125.
Yeah.
So that's why I haven't bet that.
I'm with you. Okay. Yes. We could go forever, but I have to get the snow out of my driveway before. But here's what I want people to do. If you have more questions, you know what we have? We have Discord. Okay. bettingpros.com/chat. It's going to be popping throughout this entire Super Bowl. We're going to be talking about bets. If we have any recommendations in there, Matt will be in there the whole time. I'll probably be in there closer to the second quarter and then for the rest of the game. But bettingpros.com/chat. Come join our Discord. Totally free. Just come in there. A lot of people like to talk about betting. Thank you, everybody, for coming by. Paul, congratulations on your helmet. Again, thanks to Pristine Auction for that. And thank you so much to WynnBet, who is our sponsor, who gave us all this great stuff. Again, the WynnBet app, it's fantastic. You really need to go check it out. You can, live pregame betting on the biggest events, everything, football, college football, basketball, hockey, anything you can want. You get a risk-free $500 bet. Again, when you make a $20 minimum deposit on your first bet at bettingpros.com/win, WYNN. Again, that's bettingpros.com/win. Matt, go enjoy your fantastic Super Bowl meal that you've got ready to go. I am going to go snowblow my driveway and then go watch the rest of it and probably root against Tom Brady.
My windows are open, and it's 65 degrees in Vegas. Have fun. Bye.
That's one of the many reasons why I dislike you. So there we go. Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it and enjoy the Super Bowl.